everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today on this day, I have with me a gentleman by the name of Bruce Hill. He's a sales consultant, author, teaches entrepreneurs how to hear yes more often without sounding salesy, and says one new skill will improve your life. Now, I'm looking forward to hearing more from him today about this thing that terrifies most of us called sales. But first and foremost, Mr. Hill, as I always do, I take a quick moment to pause, say thank you to you for making time for me today. Time is a gift. Once we give it, we can't get it back. So I appreciate you carving out the space to chat with little old me. And with that, sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to serve. One new skill will change your life. That's huge.
Awesome. Now, you're in this world of sales. And as I said, for many of us, that terrifies most of us. Most of us believe that it's something either you have or you don't have. And you've been doing this for many years now. So I'm wondering, in your own personal journey, was it something that just clicked, or was there a learning curve for you?
So there's three important concepts in your observation. I don't believe anyone is born anything. They say they're a born athlete, born musician, born painter. When you're born, you don't even know what a piano is, what a guitar is. I do recognize some people learn things more quickly, but they still had to learn them.
Okay.
So that's good news for all of us. Brings me to my second point. Anyone can learn any skill. Now, you have to look at, is the effort, the time and effort it takes to learn a skill worth the payoff? But anyone can learn any skill. And so for me, I was actually pretty terrible as a speaker. I was pretty terrible as a sales professional, as a salesperson. But I kept practicing long enough to get good at it. And that's where I became a sales professional. And when I realized that this was a necessary skill for everyone, entrepreneur or employee, I would say, well, how can I help other people take these skills, even if they don't have sales in their title? Skills like confidence. Yes, confidence is a skill. Communication, discipline. Everyone needs those skills. I learned them through sales. So even though I am a sales consultant, I'll help you set up a sales team. I can help create sales processes for your business. I can help you sell high ticket items. What I spend most of the time doing is the intersection of personal and professional development with an emphasis on sales skills. So I have a bundle right now. If you hit New Skills, New You, newskillsnewyou.com, there's a bundle, and there's 5 mini courses in there. Only one of them even talks about sales. And that's so important to understand. Like, I don't want to turn you into a sales professional. I don't want to turn you to a killer closer, right? But I do want you to hear yes more often. And so it's going to take some stretching as an individual, but one new skill will change your life.
One new skill. And I think I heard you say, like you said, personal development. We're all out there in some small way selling. You think about a school teacher, she has to sell her assignments or the enthusiasm for the material that she's teaching to her students or something, right?
That's the word right there. So if you take one of the trainings I do, it's called Sales Made Simple. And the definition I teach is selling is the transfer of enthusiasm from one person to another.
Okay.
And in that whole slide deck, I believe there's 23 slides. I mentioned the word money one time. Selling isn't about the money.
Okay. I get it. So there's hope for many of us who are terrified by this whole concept.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, this brings me to the next thing I have to ask you, because as I was getting ready for today's show, scrolling through your Instagram, I came across something where you were saying introverts make the best salespeople. And that seemed very odd to me, because these people want to go in the corner, social anxiety, don't talk to me, don't look at me. So how is it that these people make the best salespeople?
Because the most effective sales skill I've discovered over 15 years, 10,000 sales presentations, over 100,000 phone calls, and several $1 million in revenue.
Okay.
The most effective sales skill I can teach anyone and everyone, 8 years old to 80, from 10,000 a year to 10,000 a month. I teach them how to listen effectively.
Okay.
Introverts already don't want to talk to you.
So,
So I spend less time telling them to shut up
mhm.
and more time to teach them to be effective in their listening, not just quiet, but effective listening. And
Okay.
because they can get there a little faster, they can make more money faster. All the best sales persons, all the best speakers I've ever met are introverts.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. All righty. So there's hope for them. And listening to you talk about effective listening seems like maybe you should be doing some relationship counseling as well, because that seems to be a problem with many relationships, is listening and communication. So
Listen, my title may be sales consultant, but these skills are for literally everyone.
everyone.
And you can take them and use them in your life. What perfect example? I've got a couple of them. I remember I was quantifying, right, codifying all this knowledge and experience I have. And I said, how effective do I listen? So I practiced listening. And I was able to connect with my mom, and we had the longest conversation. We ended up having the longest conversation that we'd ever had. And in fact, more than we'd spoken in the past 2 or 3 years combined. Okay.
Awesome.
And then for all my single and looking folks, I was out and about, and I learned to listen. And I actually ended up meeting a beautiful young lady. We're still friends to this day. And oh man, I learned to listen. I ended up getting a promotion, right? An opportunity where they needed a salesperson. But what I discovered through listening is they actually needed a manager. And so I
Okay.
ended up managing the team, and I ended up hiring the salesperson instead of being the salesperson. And so listening, that's one new skill, and it's life-changing.
One new skill. Okay. Awesome. Listening. Now, I want to move on because I don't have much time. I try to pack all this stuff in 30 minutes. So please bear with me as it seems like I'm rushing. Um, I was preparing for today's show, and we always talk about the good, but I was wondering what was some qualities of a bad salesperson. So I looked up this article, and it's on saleshacker.com. And it lists 11 bad characteristics. And I'm gonna run down real quick, but I want to kind of pick your brain about 2 of them, if I could.
Okay. I could probably tell you all of them.
But
probably did all of them at one point.
So let me see here. 11. You're not really into sales.
Okay.
You fear rejection and can't roll with the punches.
Okay.
You find yourself as clueless about the product as the customer. You love talking so much you forget to listen. We just did that one.
Interesting. That sounds familiar.
You're unable to ask the right questions. You have a sense of entitlement for being so good at what you do. Everyone is a prospect. That's one of the things I want to ask you about. You lack genuine social empathy. If push comes to shove, you'll push until the client pushes back. That's another thing I want to ask you about. And then you go by gut feel, since you distrust science and haven't embraced technology. And you focus on products instead of people. Okay, so that was the 11th thing. So let me pick your brain about the 2 that I want to ask you about. Everyone is a prospect, right? So I understand you can't sell shoes to a man with no feet. Okay, I understand that. All right. But it was my thought process, especially with a new business owner. You're supposed to be out there like really like pumping yourself up. So you're supposed to be in Target, handing out your business cards. You're supposed to be at the gas station, pumping up business. You're supposed to be picking up your kids from school, just drumming up business. So elaborate on or give me your thoughts on a bad salesperson treats everyone as a prospect.
So let's go back to the beginning to touch on all 11.
Okay.
None of these are unique to sales. Okay. None of these are unique to a person who has sales in their title. So we can look at a number. The second one you said, fear of rejection. No one likes rejection. Well, so whether or not I'm a sales consultant or trainer, I could be a piano teacher, right? I could be an accountant. I could be single and looking. No one likes rejection. So we have to separate these negative emotions from selling. They're human emotions.
Okay. Okay.
So now when we try to put products for four people, that's selfishness.
Mm.
I think a second one, which is really the same thing, lack of empathy, that's selfishness. I'm self-centered.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who you are. No one wants to deal with a selfish person.
Gotcha.
And then there was another one that said they don't listen, right? You
Yeah.
don't know you get to talk to someone that doesn't listen. We've all talked to that person. We did not enjoy it. We avoid that person. So these are all very human emotions and human behaviors. And that's what's so interesting about what I do. I'm not a sales trainer. I
Mm-hmm.
really end up being a life coach, working on personal and professional development with an emphasis on sales skills, right? I use those sales skills to help you grow your business. That's my
Mm-hmm.
audience, entrepreneurs and small business owners. But anyone can use any of those skills to improve. So let's go back to everyone as your prospect. You actually can sell shoes to someone. It is, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There are people who have bought hundreds of pairs of shoes and never worn them.
Mm.
So this is the lesson here. What is the value to the person I'm speaking with? And so this is where I teach my clients, we're never going to convince anyone. We just want to know if the value to them is higher than the cost. There's absolutely no reason I should spend $400 for a pair of shoes, or sneakers, or trainers. But people do quite frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? The value to them, that's the collection, the prestige, is worth much more than the cost of the shoes.
Okay.
So we have to stop thinking that everyone wants what you have to offer. And that comes back to taking rejection personally.
Okay.
However, we want to give more people the opportunity to tell us yes. So I say all the time, I say, hey, I'm Bruce Hill, New Skills, New You. If you're a service-based business, if you want to hear yes more often without sounding salesy, schedule 15 minutes on my calendar. The link's at newskillsnewyou.com.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not a service-based business, you already stopped listening. That's okay. If you're a service-based business and you have too much business, your calendar's overflowing, you're out 30 days, you don't want to hear yes more often. You need some help with some systems. That has no value to you.
Okay.
But if my calendar is empty, there's lots of white space, there's downtime, I'm worried about payroll, man, maybe I need to give this guy Bruce a call. So what you have to separate from yourself is how fantastic you think you are, and ask how valuable is this to the person I'm speaking with. That's where that transfer of enthusiasm comes in. Someone gets excited to hear that, ooh, I can hear yes more often without sounding salesy. Introverts make great salespeople. I need to talk to this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I don't have to convince you. I just have to connect with you and solve your problems.
Okay. Okay. You know,
That's
it just really, listening to you talk over and over again, it just seems like sales is more so personal development versus having a gig per se. It's just becoming your best self.
that's what I spend a lot of time doing. I've got two clients. Let's see, yeah, they'll start in the month of May, and it's interesting. They're working through my program to develop a 15 minutes talk, a presentation. Well, that isn't uniquely a sales skills, but guess what? I learned to give effective presentations,
Mm-hmm.
pitching C-suites on why they needed to sign 3-year contracts at $8,000-$10,000 a month and work with our company. You can't get much more compelling than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I can tell to strangers who don't want to talk to me, who haven't heard of me, and get them to spend 6-7 figures, it's very easy for me to help service-based businesses pitch $1,000, $2,000 products that
Okay.
actually people want and need.
Great. Awesome. Okay, let me go on, Bruce, because I only have 30 minutes. I got more stuff to get in here. Hold on a second now, because I was about to ask you another question about that. Hold on a second. Let me go to this other one here. If push comes to shove, you'll push until the client pushes back. Okay. So I've experienced this a couple of times in the area of upsells, right?
Mhm.
Upselling. Just recently, I was doing something with my internet, making some modifications. And because I bundled, at the end of the conversation, the rep was like, okay, well, let me try to sell you this. And I was like, oh, I'm very good with what I have. Thank you very much. But then they did the pitch again. And I was like, oh, I'm good with that, thank you. And then they did the pitch again. So now I'm starting to get agitated. So at what point do you say, you as a salesperson, okay, this is a no, and I need to move on?
So I've already answered this one. We don't convince anyone.
Uh-huh.
We show them the value. If
Oh,
it,
okay.
it adds value, they'll need the next steps. We have to guide them.
Okay.
What happens is that that person probably, how many questions did they ask you?
It just seemed very scripted. It's just, I guess, in that training for that particular company. So, um, like I said, I had finished making the modifications on my service that I wanted. And oh, by the way, we have this, if you want to do this, Miss Reed. And I was like, no, I'm very good with what I did today. Oh, but it'll save you such and such. I was like, no, I'm very good, with what I did today. And then it was like, but if you just choose the lesser package, then and I was like, no, I'm very good with what I did today.
So I love that agent asked you more than once, but he didn't try to solve a problem that you had. That's
Mhm.
why you were never going to say yes. So, great example. I used to knock on doors selling home alarms, right? I used to sell security systems, businesses, and residences. And I knocked on the door, and he answers the door with a pistol in his hand. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." I said, "Hey, I'm Bruce Hill. Protect your home and family with a custom alarm system." He said, "No, I don't need that. I got locks on the doors." I was like, "What if someone breaks in?" He said, "I got a gun." I said, "Well, what if you're asleep?" "Oh, I got a dog." And we went back and forth and back and forth. And I tried to convince him, "Hey, listen, you can save money on your homeowner's insurance." He's like, "Oh, I own the house." And then I asked a question. I said, "Well, let me ask you, when would you need or want some security for your home and your family?" And he stops and he thinks about
Um,
it. He says, "You know what, Bruce? I travel a lot. I would feel much better if I had something in place for when I was away." So I asked him another question. I was also opening the question. I asked him closing the question to confirm. I said, "So it sounds like you've got it pretty locked down tight when you're here." He's like, "Yeah, absolutely." So okay, but when you're gone, you could use some peace of mind. He's like,
mm,
I was like, "I can help you accomplish that." The difference of what I teach, and this is why I really have to figure out a new title, versus sales. That's why sales consultant and not trainer. I don't want to teach you to be a master manipulator, a killer closer, you know, the overlord of objection handling. I want to teach you to listen. And so I
okay.
actually have a resource, a free resource your audience is welcome to grab. It's askingbetterquestions.com, askingbetter questions,
Okay.
plural.com. And it's 46 questions that will help you stimulate conversation.
Mhm.
And it's 46, not 50 or 45, because that's just where I happen to stop.
Mhm.
I didn't want to make up any questions just to hit a quota.
Mhm.
And I realized over my career, I have much more success asking good questions, asking better questions, and listening to the answers. And I spend less time convincing and more time serving my ideal client. So while we have to ask, and sometimes we do need to ask more than once, instead of saying, "Hey, do you want to buy?" No. "Hey, do you want to buy?" No. "Hey, do you want to buy?" No. I'm going to ask better questions, and you're going to hear yes more often. And you'll have less agitated people on the phone.
Yeah, so I think that is the difference,
It is the difference.
whereas your technique is to ask what the customer and try to get in where the customer's needs are. But most of these larger corporations or even standard sales techniques, they just have a script and they just push, 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 and then the customer gets agitated. Whereas on your end, you're kind of trying to massage and see where the customer's needs is and tailor the pitch around that. So I think, well, I know that's more effective because I was just irritated, to tell you the truth. I was like, I said no. This is the third time I said no. And it gives a bad taste for the entire company, when you have that experience. But
Yeah.
Anyways, let me go on. Let me go on. You kind of alluded to this a couple of times as we've been talking today. But you said, I think on your Instagram or in some other places, sales is a service, sales is a service, sales is a service. And it's very true. So let's say you have some potential clients coming your way, and they're sitting in front of you, and one just opened up a cupcake business or a mobile car detailing business.
Okay.
And they're saying to you, Bruce, I'm good at what I do. I know how to bake some cupcakes. I know how to clean some cars.
Mhm.
But I know nothing, but nothing, but nothing, but nothing about selling. And I think this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with. They're
It
good at
is.
what they do, but they're not good at selling what they do.
Mhm.
So when you encounter people like this, what are the options for them? I mean, because there's no use being a business if you don't sell it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they need to join the new skills sales program. That's a 6 weeks training where I teach them step by step how to hear yes more often. We cover, and I don't know, break it down for you. So the first thing we cover is confidence. That's the first thing. How confident are you so their clients can be confident in you? Then we teach them the 3 C's: how to be clear, concise, and compelling. We answer the question, who are you? What do you do? And why should I care? That's a very important question. Okay. And then we work on, there's a whole module on asking better questions. There's an
Okay.
entire module on asking better questions, because if we don't know what the customer's problem is or are, we cannot solve those problems. We cannot serve them effectively. Okay. You're trying to serve pork to Muslims. Eid Mubarak to my Islamic brothers and sisters. Okay. We're not going to do that. Why? Because we're going to ask better questions. And then the next one is when they say no. Hey, some people are not going to tell you yes. What do we do? And how do we not take that personally? And then I teach them a structure, not a script. I teach them a structure called Interested to Invoice. And it's 5 simple steps to help them get a client from interested, right, to signing up to the invoice, to working with your business. And that's really, really good for like that mobile detailing and service-based business. It could work for the cupcake business, maybe if they had a catering arm or something like that.
Okay.
So I have developed a whole program just for those type of people that make delicious cupcakes, that have cars looking brand new. Okay, well, how do we get more clients? How do we get people to say yes? And so I have developed that framework, tested over and over again, so that it works the first time for them.
Now, another course that I saw as I was being nosy on your Instagram
Mhm.
is you have a sales course for notaries. And
Yes.
let me say, like, for some reason or another, I was very ignorant about the reality that a notary needed sales. I guess maybe my personal experience, I went looking for them. I don't see signs around or whatever. But I guess I'm going to ask, or I aim for, why do notaries need special sales skills, or what's, I'm just clueless. I'm just clueless.
Well, so there's two types of notaries. There's a notary that works in the bank. They're a bank employee. So this training is for the mobile notaries that are considered
Okay.
self-employed, right, or
Okay.
considered contractors. And we teach them how to grow their business so that it can be a sustainable business. And instead of waiting and wondering and waiting, hey, when's my next business come? Helping them be more proactive and consistent in their revenue. It happened
Okay.
completely on accident. I had hosted, and this happened a while ago. Shout out for growth. But I hosted a workshop, and only one person had showed up, and well, other people had paid and didn't show up. But that's anyway. He was a notary, and so I tailored it towards him, and he ended up doing a record-breaking week that same month, and then he broke that record and actually made more than he did last month in that week. Just based on that workshop. And so it's really important that the things I'm teaching work in almost any industry, in any service-based industry. And so I package that up and say, hey, we're going to tell other notaries about this and help them grow their mobile notary business.
Yeah, when I saw that, I don't know, you just kind of walk around in certain niche markets, you're like, oh, I guess they do need to sell themselves, but it just never really had crossed my mind because I guess personal experience, when you're getting the deed for the house signed, it comes
Yep.
with the whole package, but I guess they do need sales skill. Now, I want to make sure I cover, you have a book out, All Gas, No Brakes, Breaks, All Gas, No Brakes. Interesting title, interesting play on the word. Why is that?
I believe, and again, that's what skill will change your life, that there's a life you can design that you don't need a break from, that you don't need a vacation from. And that looks different for everyone. But my goal is to encourage them to find it, to explore what that looks like for them. So it's a collaboration with some really good friends of mine. Javon Woodard is actually one of the contributing authors in there. So shout out to my guy,
Mhm.
Javon. It's just really a reflection of my life and my adventure here. So definitely, again, that link's in the bio as well. Newskillsnewyou.com. If you're exploring entrepreneurship, or if you're new to it, or if you've been in it for a little while, it's a great resource for you. And I'm still signing every copy.
I love it. I love it. Now, I think I have time for maybe one more question before I have to let you go. Um, I got two more questions.
Okay.
You said one new skill will change your life. So
Yes.
I'm of the impression that you're learning one new skill quite frequently. So just curious, what's your latest new skill you've learned?
Hmm. Hmm. So there's two ways to approach it. It could be a brand new skill, or it could be mastering a skill. It only takes one. And what's interesting, a great concept by Douglas Adams is innovation. And that's not inventing something new, but a new combination of small things. So if you don't know, Douglas Adams is the author of the comic strip Dilbert. So he
Mhm.
combined business and a comic, which hadn't been done before, right? And he created a niche. And so what I did for New Skills, New You was to teach sales skills, one of my first courses, to people who hate salespeople. I say, how do we grow our business without becoming the salesperson we all hate? So that's the skill that I've worked on most recently, is how to effectively transfer my knowledge and experience to someone who has never worked in a capacity or has sales in their title.
All right. Yeah, because I know some of them come knocking on the door and I feel so bad, because being a kind person, I'm like, okay, I know I gotta let you do your thing, but I'm really irritated with you. And it's a dance that people do with sales people, but then there's Bruce Hill out here teaching sales people how to be more personable and hear yes more often. So, but yeah, I think it's a bad context, bad impression, but we can make it more pleasurable, the exchange. One more question before I go. Um, for the business owner, there is always a struggle with how much free do you give, how much charge do you give. So, for example, you go to Costco, you've always got the free samples, hoping that you'll get a customer to actually buy. Another example, for many years, I listened to a motivational speaker, this guy named Eric Thomas. I've listened to him off and on, and he always talks about in his videos how he gives away free. He's given away free service for years. But on the other end, he charges six figures for his speaking engagement. So, as a entrepreneur, when does the chicken cross the road? When do you say, okay, I've given away enough free, I now need to charge?
Great question. I believe I taught, shout out to CC, rest in peace, the six-figure chick. She teaches to give away the what and sell the how. And I come from a SaaS business, and that's for those who don't know, a software as a service. We would do a trial, 5 days, 10 days, or a proof of concept, might be 30 days. And what's interesting is people don't have to know, like, or trust you to buy from you. They just have to know that it works. They want the results. Respectfully, they don't really care too much about you, with a few exceptions. Maybe they're a lifestyle-based business or something like that. They just need to know it works. Can I duplicate your results? So free should be to educate and to demonstrate. Your free should be to educate and demonstrate.
Okay.
I want to teach you, why do I care about whatever Bruce is teaching? Why does it matter to me?
Mm,
Then I want to, that's the education. The demonstration is, okay, that sounds good, but will it work for me? Right? You ever see those commercials? And, brand new, clean the siding of your house in just 30 seconds, right? Wipe away all the grease and grime in one swipe, right? Okay, that sounds good. It looks good on TV. Does it work for me? So I like, that's where testimonials come in. That's where webinars come in. I do a free webinar every week. I'll do some workshops, which are a little bit less than, going through the program. And so I need to educate them. Why is it important and demonstrate to them that this will work for you? And that's why it's so important to have that notary course, right?
mm-hmm.
I've helped content creation managers. I've helped caterers. I've helped realtors. I've helped, just industries that don't have sales in the title. Those are always my best clients. Because the goal is, again, is not to create more salespeople. There's already enough of those. But I want to help them hear yes more often. And so my free stuff demonstrates that and proves that. Perfect example. You go to askingbetterquestions.com, and it's going to give you some examples of the questions that we ask. So if you need a set tailored for your business, hey, that's where we'll work one-on-one to create that.
Great. Um, just had a random thought about sales and personal development. But I was recently watching this movie on Netflix, The Tindler Swindler,
Yep.
about this guy on the, but that impresses me as a, like a negative experience with sales, but he was very effective at selling and, drawing the person in. But it seems like
Yeah,
it's a,
that's not selling. That's called manipulation.
yeah, but he asked the right questions. He listened, and I think sometimes you run into bad salespeople with manipulative tactics. Like I said, um, it could go both ways. I guess is what I'm trying to say is, and people, the customer is. I think that's what sometimes has made customers wary, or the person that's interacting with somebody who's selling or pitching or trying to, is that sometimes we run across salespeople with bad intentions, with manipulation in mind. But there's Bruce. We're going to say there's Bruce teaching the good stuff, getting the positive stuff out there. So we appreciate you out there. But I just had that thought, like, he seemed to be asking the right questions. He seemed to, give the sense of empathy or whatever, but it was all from manipulation. So maybe you could teach people how to not get caught up with the bad salespeople.
Well, I only work with people that want to serve their clients and then add value. So I haven't run into that in my group of people, and I plan to be very strict to keep it that way.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes, because we have some wonderful stuff out there. Well, sir, let me ask you my random question, because as
Okay.
you can see, I can go all over the places. My thoughts are just going everywhere and anywhere. Let me ask you my random question, and then we will see where we can get in touch with you, get all the resources.
Mhm.
Okay, if you could pick one celebrity to have lunch or dinner with, who would it be?
A celebrity I could have lunch or dinner with. Hmm. Hmm. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I've met most of the people I look up to.
Blessings, blessings, blessings. Let me like, living or not.
Living or not, I suppose that helps a little bit. Hmm. Robert F. Smith. A lot of people probably don't even know who that is. He's one of the few Black billionaires in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would really love to talk to him about his journey,
Mm-hmm.
and what it means to be a Black billionaire in the U.S.
That was the guy a couple of years ago who took over the student loans at some HBCU, or is that guy, right?
That was the same. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Awesome. Yes, indeed. always important to be a servant, no matter how you rise. I think that's very important.
Yeah,
Some
he
people,
just seems like a good guy.
yeah, seems like good people.
A runner-up would be Reginald Lewis, who was the first Black man to create $1 billion company in the U.S. He's passed away, so if you said living or dead, Reginald Lewis, yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, well, he's not going to be the last. We got Bruce Hill coming up. Coming up.
I'm working on it.
Coming up there. All right, we're gonna speak it to existence. Well, sir, you've given us a lot of resources today, a lot of information. How do we pick it all up? How do we connect with you? How does the cupcake person or the car mobile detailing person get in touch with you so they can figure out how they're gonna get the sales on par and everything? Just give me the whole lowdown.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a service-based business, been in business for 5 years or less, if you're doing less than 5 figures a month, you are the person I'm looking for. You're the person I excel at serving. Follow newskillsnewyou.com. Grab the free discovery call, the third link in the bio. And I would love to talk about how we can help your business grow. If you want to grab the book, also newskillsnewyou.com. It's the second link in the bio. All gas, no brakes. First collaboration project. It's got my smiling face on the back. And I am still signing every copy. And if you just want to learn something, you say, I need some of that free stuff first. I don't know about this Bruce guy. I need that demonstration. Hey, tap into one of my free webinars. I believe the series I'm running right now is Increase Your Revenue. So if whether you're still employed, climbing that career, or growing your business, tap into the Increase Your Revenue webinar. And all those resources, all those connections are newskillsnewyou.com.
Awesome. Such a salesperson, such a personable person. Let me put it like that. Such a personable person, awesome and amazing. Well, sir, I have truly enjoyed my time today. I love learning, so I love interacting with people and having you guys pour into me. So I appreciate your time and the knowledge that you've given me, and some interesting stuff like the introverts and all that stuff. I just love to learn. So thank you for helping me grow. I appreciate it.
A new skill will change your life, man.
That's right. Well, that is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time. Oh.